Hey guys! Cycrafter here today. I am back for another episode of Anime versus Reality. I apologize for the background noise if it really comes through. Washing. But today I am back in Spice Wolf to hopefully finish season 1 today. Well, I will be finishing season 1 today. And throughout this, you'll come to realize why my personal headcanon for what I call the season is the sexism and gold season. That's a good apple. So we're going to get through episodes 10, 11, 12, and 13 today. So let's get into episode 10, where we're catching up with Craft and Hollow, and like the Craft and the barkeep, Craft and the barkeep are inside talking. Hollow scares off a dog by growling at it, which is a fun detail of like she can just scare off other dogs because she's a wolf. And inside, when Kraft asks about anyone traveling to Lamtra, the barkeep immediately knows that Nora has something to do with it. It's like, oh, Nora is not a good influence, I guess. Apparently, she's the only one that comes back safe from the forest path to Lamtra. And the barkeep tells Kraft to steer clear of her. It's like, no. We're already getting a good sense of the sort of sexism going on. But the barkeeper asks if a name is needed on a certificate he's running or not, stopping when Kraft says Lemurio Trading and asked if he purchased some credit, but not revealing anything about Lemurio Trading. In the actual, like, in the reboot, it's actually called Romero, but I was going off the subtitles, so it might not be 100% accurate. Kraft steps out of the building to see two young guys hitting on Hollow, saying to Hollow that if she responded, she would have been abducted. Which Hollow sees as another opportunity for Kraft to rescue her again. It's like the callbacks are like really good in this show, because they're not done through flashbacks; they're just jokes. He says he would rescue her again, although she shapes the story as her rescuing him, which... No, he rescued her because he organized the plan, and then, yes, she did rescue him in the end because of what happened in the sewers, so they rescued each other. It makes it even. Hollow reveals she heard everything Kraft and the barkeep said inside, but saying she'll have him invest in her for now, and that Nora is Kraft's type. Kraft is left fumbling over his words and making a big mistake with his words when Hollow says she was just teasing him, but she knows he's lying, which makes her happy. Yeah. You gotta keep the wolf happy. Oh, I lost my spot. Dang it. However, she's not certain to believe Kraft because he's a male, and Kraft says his word is his bond. Really, just showing the sexism could go both directions. Hollow asks what Kraft will do to show his sincerity, like a knight leaving their sword and shield to others, and he shouts he'll buy her honey pickled peaches. Kraft notices her ears move And he gets angry at her for trying to trick him and speed walks away, with Holly having to run to keep up. It's like, yeah. That's what you get, Holly. Stupid human legs. At their room, Hollow says that running a business is scary because you have to use your head to make money, but not too much to get caught in your own schemes. Like what happened at Leparon Trading. Kraft responds by saying if they're smart about it, like transporting armor without investing funds, they can make big money. She says that being in debt is not in her nature in relation to Kraft buying 100 luminum. I really need to learn how to say that word. Luminone gold? And gold's worth of armor at half price. Meaning he borrowed money from Leparon. By selling them at regular price to Remerio Trading, the two companies will take care of Kraft's debt for him. Since he made a wholesale purchase worth twice the funds he made, his profit will be twice as much as well. Over at Lemerio Trading, it's eerily quiet, but Hollow can hear someone inside, even overeating Kraft's meat pie, saying it's a dangerous atmosphere inside. Heading inside, Kraft talks to a creepy guy and notices how derelict the place is, and while leaving, the guy calls out Kraft's name. The guy knows that Kraft brought armor from Leparon Trading because a post horse came from Proson, which is what we saw at the end of the last episode, with a letter that transferred the debt to Lemerio Trading. It turns out that the armor market collapsed quite a while ago, meaning all the armor Kraft has is now worthless, leaving him bankrupt. Kraft meets with Lemerio to discuss what's going on, in particular that 47 3/4 luminum gold is a credit to him with a payment deadline in 2 days, or the Lohan Merchant Association will have to assume his debt. Kraft's only thing he can do is sell the armor at a high price to make enough to pay off the debt, but before he leaves to do so, Lemerio mentions that their street stalls at the exits of the town. Or there are street stalls at the exits of the town if something were to happen. Hollow asks what happened, and Kraft lays it out flatly that they basically have trash in their car and he'll go bankrupt. As you do. She asks if they can run, but merchants are vigilant as ever if anyone owes any money. Or if anyone owing money does business anywhere, meaning Kraft's merchant career would be over. Hollow says that wounded animals are eaten to the bone and asks if Kraft will be one of those. He won't give up, and knows there's enough room for starting over by selling the armor. Hollow promises to help Kraft get the money, but not by cutting back on her food costs, and if everything goes wrong, she'll help him escape, even if she has to use the wheat. When Kraft asks Hollow to wait at the inn while he goes to the trading house, she stomps on his foot. It's like, I want to help sort of behavior, saying that she will help him. It's not that he doesn't want her help, it's that bringing a woman to the trading house means something special. So Hollow shouts at Kraft to lie and say they're in love. It's like, oh, wow. Back at the trading house, the barkeep owner asks Kraft about Hollow, and he says they're peddling together for business reasons, using the Martin First story to show her skill. The owner says that people like him come around every so often. But he won't pry into their business together. It's like, hands off on that. Getting to the topic of conversation, the owner says he has an idea of what's going on since someone from Lemuria Trading came by earlier to inquire about them assuming Kraft's debt. To whom, it's rather simple. If they have to assume Kraft's debt, will have to be paid back by Kraft himself, and the only person that could help him is God or Hollow. The owner is unable to show Kraft mercy, so no special treatment, and association members can't loan him money for the debt. If Kraft fails to pay off the debt in 2 days, the owner will have to physically restrain him. Kraft will have a tomorrow to look forward to, but one that he doesn't want to see on the trade ship for 10 years if he fails to pay the debt. The owner tells Kraft to make money and do as much as possible for the next 2 days, saying there are unexpected loopholes in running a business, and ones you can only see when cornered. Right before leaving, Kraft asks the owner to come up with a surprising line he can use when he slams the money back at Lemuria Trading. But with how Kraft is talking already, the owner says he'll be good. Kraft is worried about how he's going to make over 47 luminum gold in 2 days, only to be comforted by Hollow holding his hand. Asking what his plan is, Kraft says he plans to repay his debt with another debt, that he has many people who'd help him out with little amounts of money. Going to the first organization quickly ends in failure, followed by everyone else with legitimate reasons as to why they can't help. They just can't help. And Kraft just falls silent after so many rejections. One organization even throws water in his face for even requesting money to pay off his debt, which just breaks him. As the day comes to an end, Kraft tries yet another person that has heard about him asking for loans from everyone, knowing it's because the armor market collapsed. Kraft has helped this guy make some money in the past and would be willing to help, but apparently Kraft's attitude is not one of an honest life under God and being sincere to others because he's walking around with Hollow. Excuse me, what? With that reality hitting him like the door almost does, Kraft almost gets run over by a carriage, and he shoves Hollow away when she tries to comfort him. So Hollow returns to the inn without him. It's like, damn. And this is just the start of why I call it the sexism and gold art. We can move into episode 11 now. And much like in the OP, Hollow sits alone in their inn room, hurt by the fact that Kraft shoves her away. Meanwhile, Kraft is kicked out of yet another establishment and gets some change tossed at him, which he's thankful for. Returning to the inn, Kraft thinks Hollow left through the window, but she's just sleeping but still able to hear him. So he tells her he only got 3 Luminon gold. All he can think of is going to a gambling house, but believes Hollow would have better talent than him. Instead of going to sleep, Kraft leaves the inn to the shock of the owner. When Hollow attacks him with the coins, he left the bag coins for her, she's just gone tossed it right at his head, telling him to come back. It's like, damn. Don't mess with Hollow. She's got accuracy to go with her wolf skills. Oh yeah, there's some bruising on that apple. Without looking at Kraft, Hollow yells at him for leaving his money with her because she could have run away with it. She gets more frustrated at Kraft's calm attitude and him calling the money traveling money for her. However, she's angry because it's her fault Kraft wasn't able to borrow money from others, and asking why he's not angry and blaming her. It's like it's almost like creating a double standard of like anger. Like, oh, girl can get angry at guy, but guy can't get angry at girl. But in this situation, it was justified if he got angry at her. It's like a way of like, no, we're not trying to promote bad behavior. This is like not what he should be doing. Kraft says she was worried for him and what he could do about that, which pushes Holly to the point of picking up a chair, but she almost just goes tumbling out the window because she's a bit of a weakling. Hollow calls him a stupid, good-natured person, that her selfishness cost him the chance of money loans, and he can be angrier. Instead, he was apologizing for pushing her away, and Kraft says that's how he that's how he feels. He thought he did something he couldn't take back. She asks why Kraft, why he's so good-natured, only to be annoyed when he says it's his personality, and says there are times someone wants to hear something, even if it's a lie. Not really in a relationship thing, though, I wouldn't say. Shocked at how good-natured Kraft is, Hollow replays the moment in real life, asking again why Kraft is so good-natured, and he plays along, saying she's special to him. Doing it the way Hollow wanted makes her laugh at what they're doing, saying it was good practice, and asking Kraft to make her accept more often because it will resolve situations quicker. Not logic I really follow on that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Getting angry to resolve situations quickly. Discussing the amount in the leather pouch, Kraft says that there is exactly 3 2/7 Luminon gold, and Hollow already has a good idea to earn the rest of the money. She doesn't want Kraft to get his hopes up, and quietly tells him the idea. One, that if they do it, ordinarily, they'll get caught. But her idea can make it happen. The next day, Hollow and Kraft return to Lemurio Trading to talk to Lemurio about Hollow's idea, which probably is going to be the most insane idea. Meanwhile, Nora is being sent down to a particular road this time, which she's shocked by, but her employer knows she can handle it, which is the church. So this church is basically trying to kill her. Nora mentions that mercenaries have been appearing along that road recently, but the church employer says God will protect her. Don't know why it cracked it to gold, but okay. Back at Lemuria Trading, Hollow reveals her idea to be smuggling, but in a rather unique way, with Lemuria saying Craft's being reckless. Craft responds by saying what if they entrust the gold smuggling to a dependable, highly skilled person, and Lemuria answers that type of person wouldn't need to smuggle gold. However, Craft says there's someone that is skilled and not making money, which has Lemuria confused on who it could be. Like, who could this person that's like skilled but not making a single dollar? Hollow chimes in on Lemuria's hesitation to announce she can hear someone else just left, and that she can hear them whispering about making a strategy to run away. This makes Lemuria panic and agree to Craft and Hollow's plan. When they leave, Lemuria calls upon Libert for something. Now all they have to do is convince Nora to help them with their gold smuggling plan, and Hollow thinks she should be the one to convince Nora, since she thinks Craft doesn't understand women. Craft points out she cornered Lemuria into agreeing to their plan, so he'll convince Nora to help out, feeling like he needs to make up for his mistake of getting products in a collapsed market. Although there was no way he would have known about the collapsed market beforehand. Is it really his fault? No. The two find Nora at a church, acting like they were definitely not tracking Nora or something, which she immediately sees through. Which, no surprise, you were acting like you're there the entire time. After referencing casual light drinking in the church, Craft tells Nora he needs her services and wants to go to a street stall to talk it over. Over some drinks, Craft asks if she can definitely go to Lamptra, even with her sheep, which she can do. Like, seriously, this church is ready to kill her. The job Craft is offering Nora is paying 20 Luminon gold in cash, which nearly makes Nora spill her drink. The payment can only be made based on success of the mission due to the risk, and all Nora has to do is bring her sheep safely back to Ruvenhagen. Graf says she can take her time and think it over, explaining it only costs 1 Luminar gold to join the Tailors Association, and with 20, she can rent a house and work without worrying about immediate living costs. Nora actually has her eyes set on an association in another town, so Craft tries to convince her to settle down in Ruvenhagen. But immediately he notes that the church sends her to locations no other shepherd send her to locations no other shepherds would go, as a way to build a case on her that she's using pagan witchcraft. So Kraft tells Nora they'll cause some trouble for the church, make some money, and escape to a different town, laying the truth to smuggle gold there. The plan is to hide the gold in the sheep's bellies to get past the strict inspection, and then retrieve it to sell for the massive price, since Reuvenhagen is influenced by the church. With Nora's skill as a shepherd, they can take the shortcut to Lanttra, where no other shepherds hold territory, and the plan can be enacted quickly with the short route. This plan will also allow Nora to get back at the church for mistreating her, since their biggest source of funds is from the import and export of gold and the donations. If the church finds out, they will be punished, and upon successful completion of the job, they will have to skip town with their payment. Having heard all that, Nora agrees to be part of the plan, and says she wouldn't have taken the job if it was coming from someone else, but that she's doing it because it's Kraft and Hollow who's asking. That night, Kraft is slightly worried because they're at risk of failure with their gamble, and that focusing on profit in this way is the same as fraud. It's literally a crime to smuggle gold, so it's worse than fraud, really. It's like conspiracy to... Well, yeah, it's conspiracy to commit a crime. Smuggling... There's like many crimes here. I just don't know what all the crimes would be. Kraft is concerned that Nora will mess up somehow, but Hollow explains that Nora's smile wasn't as innocent as it looked, that she's willing to do the job. Because she's a shepherd, Hollow acknowledged. He wants to work hard so they can all be laughing at the end with relief, while acknowledging that chuckling together with Hollow alone is appealing. However, it seems that Lemurio is hell-bent on something else involving Libert and Kraft. Seems like they're about to cook up a plan. Good juicy apple. We're getting into episode 12. Kraft, Hollow, and Nora meet with Martin Libert. Not to be confused with Martin Furs, who is their other collaborator for the job today, and is eager to get their job started. Lemurio and one of his workers wonders if the plan will work, as well as Kraft, as the four head out. Martin wants to keep moving to reach Lanttra, while everyone else prepares to sleep according to Nora's schedule. It's like, yeah, you want to be on Nora's schedule because she knows what she's doing. Kraft convinces Martin to stop, as Hollow tells Nora that Martin has the burden of Lemurio trading on his shoulders. That night, Kraft talks about how beautiful the stars are, but Hollow says they're prettier in her hometown. He's surprised that, for once, they're having a normal conversation, with Hollow saying he shouldn't be tense all the time, but he's nervous about taking the troublesome shortcut tomorrow. The next day, the four overlook the forest they're about to go by from a cliff. Another cliff places them up against the forest the entire way. So this is like a really narrow path that they're going down, and forest on this side, cliff on this side, and there's just a dirt path between the two. Nora tells Kraft to not worry. Even if wolves appear, that she'll get them to Lamtra. However, the moment they get down to the path, Kraft asks Hollow if they'll be fine with wolves, but Hollow states they're already surrounded by them. He's like, oh, great. Definitely doesn't make me nervous in any way. She promises to guarantee Kraft's safety, but only his, with no promises for anyone else. Kraft reminds her that it will be a problem if they all don't survive, but Holly explains that since they're downwind of the forest, the wolves are already preparing to attack the sheep. Kraft gets momentarily scared by Anek and calls Anek wise for knowing to round up the sheep, even when Nora doesn't give Anek an order. Hollow's annoyed by Anek because Anek knows about her wolf girl status and is threatening her. We get like a weird standoff between Anek and the Hollow this whole time, just because. Kraft asks if Nora knows that if the smuggling fails, she'll be the one worse off with the punishment, which also annoys Hollow, telling him to protect Nora with all his might. It's like, okay, Hollow, you need to calm down. Calm down and go back to your apple. The journey along the shortcut is still so long, they have to camp on the path, which seems to annoy Martin. Nora says that if they leave their camp at dawn, they can get to Lamtra by noon, and from there on, it'll be Martin's part of the job. Hollow falls asleep in Kraft's lap, and Nora indicates to treat her like she treats Anek by petting her head. Or his head? But she suddenly snaps. Oh, yeah, okay. It is by petting her head. It's like, because Nora is petting Anek. And he was like, she was trying to indicate to Kraft to do the same to Hollow. But Hollow, like, snaps to attention because she hears something in the forest. Nora and Anek are quick to gather the sheep and everyone together, with Nora making the fire beater to stand guard against the approaching wolves. She grabs a horn to blow into the woods to scare the wolves away, with Hollow having to wince against the sound. Martin asks if Nora drove them away, and she has made them back off, explaining that wolves of this forest don't howl or show signs of attacking. Around noon the next day, they reach Lamtra, meaning Martin can go do his part of the plan in buying the gold. While waiting, Nora asks Hollow if she knows a lot about wolves because she noticed that Hollow sensed the wolves early in their trek. Hollow explains it away as being a little tense because men aren't dependable in her eyes. Turning the conversation to Kraft and how dependable Nora sees him as, while failing the Bechdel test, which I tossed in as a joke, like a reference to I tossed that particular note in as a reference to the Rick and Morty Sins video from TV Sins. Nora whispers her answer to Hollow, who laughs and says she's a good judge of people, which Kraft is not surprised by. It's just like, a bit of a bonus fact to mention here. The very fact that Nora is a potential romance for Kraft when she's 16 in Spice and Wolf, the wind that spans the sea, is a bit disturbing. Even with the recent raise in the legal age of consent, or like for consent being to 16 in Japan, it's like, still, it's just like, it's like, it is bizarre that that's an actual thing. There's actually 4 Spice Wolf games. There's 2 like DS games and then 2 VR games. I honestly wouldn't mind trying out one of the VR games. Mostly to see how it looks. Also, I think I just bit my gum accidentally. Hollow says it's strange to be asking a girl who's traveling with a man if she knows a lot about wolves, making a horny joke about Kraft hounding her every night because of how cute she is. However, Hollow explains it's the opposite, that Kraft is actually the rabbit that would die of loneliness. Hollow says she just noticed the wolves early on, and Nora thought Hollow was a shepherd too, saying that Anek was very conscious of her, which Hollow words as Anek possibly loving her and maybe wanting to play with her. She tells Nora to be a bit cold on Anek to keep him in order, which Nora says she'll do if he cheats again. Nora notes that despite the success or failure of this job, she'll end up having to quit being a shepherd. Yeah, because doing this job is a high risk, high reward situation. Martin finally returns with the gold, with Nora glad he successfully got it because of how nervous he looked with the large amount of money. On the journey back, it starts raining on the shortcut, and Nora says they need to move faster because of the wolves, both in the forest and up above them. Hollow notes that Nora is acting correctly, that like this, the wolves can't attack them because they never attack in a way that exposes just one to harm, instead surrounding them to attack. In the formation they have going, they have a chance to strike back at one of them if they do attack. Hollow's ears suddenly perk up as one wolf chases after them, and Kraft prepares to fight back when Hollow stops him and somehow tells the wolf to back off. It's like, was it like, did she do the wolf sound or what? To Hollow, these wolves are just teenagers, but where there are teenagers, there is sometimes a parent, and the sound of its howl stops everyone in their tracks, so loud the rain went silent in the moment. Hollow tells Kraft to let Nora and Martin go on ahead, and leave her for a while to deal with the wolves of the forest, because their target was actually never the sheep, it was her. Nora and Martin continue on with the gold plan, allowing Hollow to prepare to deal with the wolves, leaving her hood with Kraft. Kraft goes up to catch up with Nora and Martin, who stopped because Nora is worried for Kraft and Hollow, as one would be. Hollow enters the forest surrounded by hundreds of wolves, including one massive wolf with the same red eyes as her. Kraft waits nearby under a tree for Hollow to do her thing with the wolves, when 3 men approach him to talk about the situation they heard from Martin. They ask where Hollow is, and when Kraft says she's not there, he's surprised to hear them say that's a good thing. Oh, hello, welcome to the video. Turns out that, like most of the businesses that see Kraft with Hollow, even Lemurio Trading is a bit sexist, tying him up as insurance to protect him. Oh. So, I'm doing something that I can't really pay attention to the chat, so I apologize if I'm a bit distracted. Anyway. Let me just go over the sentence. Turns out that, like most of the businesses that see Kraft with Hollow, even Lemurio Trading is a bit sexist, tying him up as insurance to protect him, protect against him blackmailing Lemurio Trading. But surprise, it's actually Nora that is in the most danger because, and Kraft realizes this, in cutting his face on the sword at his neck. The three discuss tying Nora up in the forest as well, but they believe she uses pagan witchcraft and that she would survive anything. They leave Kraft tied up and take his horse, leaving him crying, knowing that Nora is in danger. And with that, we're in the final episode of season 1. I love this apple bit that I've been doing throughout the episodes. It's a funny small bit. And if you don't get what the bit is, go watch Spice of Wolf. Anyway, we got one last episode to get through. Kraft uses his campfire to burn through the knots and runs to save Nora from whatever Lemurio Trading is going to do to her, but he trips in the rain. Hollow finds him on the ground, hoping that their reunion would be touching, and Kraft explains what's going on. She notes all of Kraft's injuries, along with the fact that he took the care to fold Hollow's robe so it didn't get wet. It's like, okay, he really just cares more about Hollow's stuff than himself, doesn't he? She wanted the plan to be done quickly so they could get back to their easygoing journey, which is why she didn't argue with the wolves and knelt before them. Yeah. Sometimes you do just have to throw in the towel. Hollow is so angry with everything that has transpired, she decides to go wolf mode on Lemurio and make him pay. Kraft tells Hollow they need to save Nora from Marden, but to save Hollow... But to save Hollow would still be a wolf to save her. To which Nora and Enek will attack her. He promises that if Hollow saves Nora, he'll do everything he can to fulfill Hollow's wish of returning north, even accepting that if someone gets on her nerves, she has the right to not care for them. Hollow goes fishing for a compliment from Kraft, fine with his amazing tail compliment sounding a bit bland. She asks Kraft to look away while she transforms into a wolf form and says he can hang on to her fur. Kraft says he won't let go before he screams at Hollow as Hollow sprints at full speed through the shortcut. While running, Wolf Hollow says she really doesn't like shepherds, which Kraft is fine with because either way Nora won't be a shepherd anymore. Wolf Hollow decides she wants the finest honey pickled peaches, of which I don't think I'm going to be able to get those for the bit, but I would be willing to try those. Outside the shortcut, Nora is told that Kraft and Hollow are dead, which makes her collapse from shock. Wolf Hollow has already caught up to the Lemuria trading people, knowing there are 20 people in the group. She leaps over them to cut them off, while also allowing Kraft off to keep him safe. Despite the puny attack from Lemuria trading, Wolf Hollow crushes and flings them around, as well as one person getting trampled by Nora's sheep, which is would be the more embarrassing way to go of like, I got killed by a wolf, I got trampled by sheep. It just sounds embarrassing. Going out for your sheep. Martin seeks protection from Nora against Wolf Hollow, leading to a standoff of David and Goliath proportions, with 300 Lemuria gold on line for Nora. However, unlike the biblical story, Wolf Hollow injures a neck and seemingly eats Nora. But in reality, Nora stops as Enek growls at Wolf, or stops Enek's attack as Wolf Hollow goes after Martin. Kraft reaches Nora and helps her up as Enek growls at Wolf Hollow, and he decides to reveal that the wolf who saved her is Hollow. Wolf Hollow brought Martin back to them because the gold he has won't sit well with her stomach, but Kraft discovers something about the gold. Learning that lying won't work against Wolf Hollow, Martin reveals the real reason for the betrayal is that the payment they demanded was too much. If they paid as Kraft said, Lemuria Trading would have gone into bankruptcy themselves. He earns a punch in the face from Kraft for comparing himself to Kraft. It's like, we're not the same. Kraft takes the moment of Martin's silence to tell Nora they were betrayed by Lemuria Trading and that they were trying to kill her as well, which Nora sort of picked up on. It's like, oh yeah, very obvious plan is very obvious. Turns out that the gold Martin bought is worth 600 Lemuria gold, meaning they don't even have to smuggle the gold. Kraft doesn't know what to do with the gold, because if they take it as revenge for Lemuria Trading's betrayal, there'll be another revenge waiting for them. Wolf Hollow wants to kill off Lemuria Trading, but Kraft reminds her she wants to choose a path that leads to them being able to continue their journey. On the way back to Rivenhagen, Wolf Hollow asks why he asked Nora to make the decision of smuggling the gold into Rivenhagen. he would be fine if Nora decided on splitting the 600 Lumion gold between the three of them. It explains that with the proper connections, they could turn it into 6,000 Lumion gold, which can save Lumion gold, which can save Lemuria trading as well. Kraft reveals he lied about the gold being worth 600 Lumion gold. That's only worth 100 Lumion gold, because Martin did the fake bad trick on them. With that 100 Lumion gold, the most they could get is 1,000 Lumion gold from the smuggling plan, meaning they could never pay the hush money in the first place, which is why they went along with the plan. Wolf Hollow has more to talk about, but she tells Kraft to get on, because she'll take him to Lemurio to talk to him. Back in Ruvenhagen, Hollow is back in her human form, as all the men in the inn stare at her. It's like, okay. Meanwhile, Kraft ties Lemurio up and asks him to buy the smuggled gold from them for 500 Lumion gold. Not in cash, obviously, but with a bond of debt to pay in an installment over the next 10 years, so 50 Lumion gold every year, basically. Kraft knows that Lemurio trading could easily make 500 Lumion gold. Moving over to the fireplace to expose what Lemuria hid thanks to information from Martin. He tells Lemuria to put Lohan Merchant Association as the loaner, and to make sure Lemuria can't betray him without betraying the Merchant Association. Kraft returns to the owner of the Lohan Merchant Association, where he aggressively hugs Kraft for scaring him. It's like, yeah. It would have been scary not knowing where one of your favourite people are. The owner confirms that with the agreement from Lemurio, Kraft would be able to convert his 10-year loan to cash straight away and cut ties with Lemurio trading for good. He says he'll buy the deal for 30 Lumion gold now, and when the deal succeeds, he'll pay Kraft another 100 Lumion gold. With that money, Kraft will be able to go back and will be able to go pay back and apologize to those he borrowed from. The owner wants to go drink until they drop, but Kraft has to go meet with Hollow. I was like, yeah, he can't just leave Hollow alone again. It always seems to happen. At the end, Hollow has only 2 questions for Kraft. The first being about how much he trusts Nora with the gold. Kraft knows that even if Nora runs with the gold, they can pursue her, but he trusted her enough that he didn't have that in mind. Outside, Hollow's second question is if he remembers who he called out when Inek went to attack Hollow. Kraft waits until the sun rises to say he called out Hollow's name, but she knows he lied because he didn't remember what he called out either. He makes up reasons for why he would have called out Hollow's name over Nora's, including the fact that Hollow's name is a little shorter, which angers Hollow because that's how he thinks. It's like, oh yeah. Technically, between saying the 2 names, Hollow is quicker to say. Hearing Nora coming with the smuggled gold, she uses the opportunity to make Kraft call out either Nora's or her name. However, her plan falls short when the town clock hits 7 a.m., which Kraft times calling out a name with, which annoys Hollow again. Outside Ruvenhagen, Hollow clears up the lie that Inek was in love with her by saying Inek knew all along, and is more reliable than Kraft. Back in Ruvenhagen, Lemuria Trading is getting more business thanks to the deal with the Lohan Merchant Association. So, really, it did save their business. So, either way, he could thank Kraft for what he did. Business over with Milone Trading is going strong as well, and Chloe is back in Peslo, looking out over the horizon. Kraft and Hollow are finally back on the road north, and that's where season 1 of the original Spice and Wolf ends. With another season to go, as we get another 12 episodes of that. But that will be for not next week, but the week after. I like to try and have a gap in my weeks, just so it doesn't feel like rushed. It will not feel like I'm trying to rush through a season, like rush through a show, like some breathing room, stuff like that. But for now, I'm going to end this episode here. Season 1 of Spice and Wolf is amazing. For YouTube, links will be in the description. Both the channels and the Twitch video you're going to check out. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when the next video comes out. A ding. A ding. And Psycrafter out.